Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Hey, guys, let me tell you, we had an interesting start. Everything was set up. We got the person that should have been Senator number 40 in Georgia set up and ready to go, cropped into the screen. Everything was going perfectly. And you know what happened? Lightning struck. And I don't mean the lightning that came from the clouds. I mean the lightning of who knows what. And it crashed the entire system. Did you have something to do with that, Miss Tamara Shiley?
No, Egberto, of course not. I would never do that to you. You know how excited I am to be on Politics Done Right with our Politics Done Right family.
Well, you know what, though? We got it up, and I think we probably got delayed just 3 minutes or so, 3 or 4 minutes. But, you know, when you're in this business, this is the kind of stuff that you have to be prepared for. You know, I've been on several shows, both on air and otherwise. And I tell you what, this isn't one of the worst things that could occur. But I tell you what, it's been a bit too frequent with this particular broadcasting software that we're using. So I think we have to take a look at not changing the software, but changing the platform. How are you doing today, mademoiselle?
I'm wonderful, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Well, I mean, is it a crisis yet?
A crisis here in the United States?
Yes.
Absolutely. And I am like, I'm speechless some days. It's like, I can't believe that Democrats and Republicans, that we are literally in this place politically. I am appalled. I'm pissed off.
Well, I'm glad that but let me tell you something first of all. It's been a crazy week. It's been a tough week. You know, there are these 10 points that I'm trying to put together for the new Politics Done Right. All the things that we're going to be doing for Politics Done Right. So I've been burning the midnight oil from all sides. And what happened now is today I was writing the blog of the week about teachers and realized that I was late, so I didn't finish the blog of the week. So what that means, mademoiselle,
is that your human?
No, it means that you're going to be on a bit longer for us to discuss other issues before we go into teachers.
Okay.
But you know what? A politician always has a word, so I'm pretty sure.
I'm not a politician. I am a public servant.
That's a political answer right there. That is a political answer. Folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to go ahead and share this program. Go ahead and share it on all platforms that you're on, because without you putting that out there, we are nowhere. But we need you to go ahead and do that right now. Now, tell me a little bit about, before we get started, while I go ahead and cue these, because there are some other places that I have to, given that we started late, that I have to get these things out. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you see as the current problems in the United States, the current issues right now, while I go ahead and cue these things here.
Yeah, I am. It's sad to me, Egberto. You know, as a working person, just not to be able to get your paycheck. I can only imagine how these workers are feeling that rely on these funds, and just the fact that they don't have a paycheck is and Democrats and Republicans, and they're calling it grandstanding, and it pisses me off because we've sent not one of them to Congress to grandstand. We didn't send not one of them there not to figure it out and compromise. I don't care how they figure it out, but damn it, figure it out. And not have American people, 800,000 or more, that aren't receiving paychecks right now. It's horrible.
You know what is interesting, though? We talk about 800,000 people not receiving their paychecks, right? It's a bit worse than that, because, I mean, what a lot of folks don't understand is in Washington, D.C., for all those people that are, I mean, it's all over the country, but Washington, D.C. has a high concentration of workers. For all those people that are not working right now, They're not going to that baker. They're not going to that burger shop. They're not going to get maybe some of their clothes at the cleaners. So that the permeation of that, or going down through the economy, is horrendous. So it's not only affecting those workers that are the government workers. A lot of waiters are going to be thrown out of jobs temporarily. A lot of people who receptionists and all these other folks, they're going to be thrown out of jobs because there just won't be the demand for their work.
Absolutely. I actually tell a story, Egberto. Back in 2008, when the stock market crashed, I had just opened, I've been doing nails for quite a while and had a salon, but I just opened a brand new salon, wasn't watching politics the way I watch politics now, and opened a business, and the stock market crashed, and people had to decide, Egberto, whether they were going to buy gas and groceries. Do you know they were not getting their nails done? So I literally went out of business within like a year of opening. I couldn't maintain, I couldn't sustain, because I started out in such a bad place because the economy had crashed and I just never fully recovered. So I know the trickle down effects personally of not having business as a business owner when people can't afford your services, especially services like what, we were rendering, personal care services where, I can go an extra week and not get a haircut, or I can go an extra week and not get my nails done. I'll just do some of these things at home. So yeah, it is absolutely a trickle down effect on the entire economy here in the United States.
Now, I want you to tell that story in a different way, because I just as you said it, I thought about it, because this is real, right? In other words, you could actually see this happening. But the most important part of the story, that story that you just told, is a part that you didn't tell. And that's the part that I got you on at Daily Kos. And that is, these happenings in your business actually got you politically engaged. And why do I want you to tell that story? Because what I want to tell Americans out there, right, is there are a lot of people that I talk to in the coffee shops or elsewhere that they have no interest in politics, or they believe they have no interest in politics. But when they realize that the political game, there are instances it directly affect them. This shutdown. Explain what really got you into politics. And folks, this is a call-in show. If you have some questions, give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that is 646-716-5812. If you have anything to throw out there, a lot of times folks want to talk, but they're scared because they think they don't know how the host is going to be treating them. I'm easy. But anyhow.
Yes,
but folks, I would love to get some of the calls, some of like what we had last week. So give us a call, 646-716-5812. But Tamara, I want you to retell your story about what really made you realize that you had to get politically involved. And again, you had nothing to do with politics. You were in the beauty cosmetic business. In fact, you also have some beauty cosmetic groups that you work with, agencies that you actually have.
And we actually, before I tell that story, we actually have an event that we're hosting as an organization, as beauty and barber professionals. We convene annually in states where we see a lot of initiation of policy around our industry. So this year we've chosen Tennessee, and we actually have an event coming up, Egberto, on February the 11th that I am very fearful that we won't have people to participate in, because I am watching my industry tell their clients online and letting their clients know not to cancel their appointments because you can't pay me because the government is shut down. They're not making any money. So of course they're not going to participate in an event where, they got to spend money. So it is totally affecting us. But going back to what you asked, your original question, where this started, watching my industry, we realized that there were things that we couldn't explain about our industry anymore. The not just the lack of professionalism, but our standards were being lowered, which equates to consumer safety. When you have people that aren't properly trained and can't service their clients where they're safe, or to ensure that they don't get a disease they didn't come in there with. We saw the minimalization of our industry. So that was part of the thing that started pushing me to like, what's happening with our industry as a whole, because I knew it wasn't just me as a professional, it was happening all around me. And then watching, like I say, my business with the whole government in 2008, the stock market crashing. I realize that everything is political. And we look at things today like Flint, Michigan, where the water is not clean. We have everything, the air we breathe, the EPA. I just heard on the radio the other day that they've done less inspections this year. And I'm like, does that mean that things are better, or does that mean that there's less funding for the EPA to actually address the issues that need to be addressed? So it just shows you how the air we breathe, the water we drink, everything is political. The lights you turn on in your house, everything is political. The appliance, everything has a political component to it. And no matter if we say we don't want to be involved, we're already involved.
And that is what the plutocracy expects of you. They want you to think that you don't need to be political. Go watch TV and eat the cheap food that we have in America. You don't have to be on worrying about these things politically, and that is how they get away with it. Now, you mentioned about Flint, Michigan, and the water still being polluted after 5 years. I had a rant from one of our regular listeners, Kathleen, yesterday called into my KPFT show, Politics on Rat at KPFT, and I had to send her a note saying, hey, may I use your picture along with the rant that you gave, because she was on point when she made it clear that what are these people talking about? What is being solved? How can we as America as a first world country still have a Flint, Michigan? And here's the thing, Tamara, let me tell you, even Obama failed us in Flint, Michigan. I don't know if you saw Michael Moore's latest movie, but everybody should see Michael Moore's movie. And there's one thing that really turned me off when I saw the movie, and that was when Obama went to Flint and to convince those folks to drink the poison. He made believe like he drank from the cup, from the glass that he drank, and the photo and Michael Moore showed directly that Obama didn't really drink the water. And of course, I mean, they could have played it even differently. Why didn't they just throw bottled water in there and have the man drink it if they wanted to fool it? It showed you that the president of the United States himself, they probably had bottled water in there, but he wasn't sure. So he didn't drink the water, but he was there to comfort the people. It shows you that
politics, Egberto, that I hate the most. If you ask me, like, what about politics that I hate the most, is that when they go in and what you just said, comfort the people. I don't need somebody to comfort me. I need you to fix these problems.
Exactly right. And that's what happened. And the question you have to ask is, his administration was still active. Why didn't they put the effort that they really should have put into Flint? I have this theory, Tamara, and that is, people always like to bring up things like race and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole lot about class. Because here it is, Obama goes into that place and he treats them as the same diminished people that others treat those folks in Flint. A bunch of poor people that how much complaining can they do, or how long is Rachel Maddow going to be out there, or Chris from MSNBC, Chris Hayes going to be out there watching exactly what's going on there. So that is what's important. Folks, give me a call at 646-716-5812, 646-716-5812 if you want to add to the discourse before we get into talking about teachers. But I mean, that is when Kathleen made that rant yesterday on the show. It was spot on that what she saw was being ashamed of what we have allowed our politicians to do. And note what I'm saying, what we have allowed our politicians to do.
Democrats and Republicans, and that's where I want, I really want us as a nation to start looking at politicians for the people that they are and get beyond this polarization of party politics. I hate it. I hate it because everybody, they're on their side of the fence. Like you say, with this whole thing with Flint, it could have been addressed during the Obama administration. Obama even talked about border security. So the fact that we are, I understand that right now Trump is, the thing is he wants to have his claim to fame and, he wants to have this wall. I understand, but the Democrats talked about border security too. So this is not a conversation that was never had. So I don't know what the hell they need to do to get to the table to come to a consensus, but they need to get there immediately. And I'm telling you, I am pissed off at Democrats and Republicans.
Now, and we should. This is a testosterone versus estrogen fight that's occurring in Washington right
I
now.
don't think it's testosterone versus estrogen.
Well, let's come on. You get it. Come on.
Yeah, it's
Pelosi's not going to give.
two bulls. It's like, we women usually know how to give in. I'm not gonna let you have that one, Egberto.
Tell me. Castigate me. What did I say wrong there?
Because you're making it like men against women, and we usually like you guys are much more bullheaded and stubborn. I think women at some point we figure out how to find that happy medium and that middle ground. You guys will stick and stay in your corners, and we women sometimes have to come in and say, okay, let's figure this thing out. So
I don't see how we're disagreeing. I don't see how we're disagreeing on that, because that's not what I implied. What I implied right now is Donald Trump won't budge because he has estrogen working against him. In other words, we have Nancy Pelosi there, and Nancy Pelosi I don't want Nancy Pelosi to budge, okay? I don't want her to budge at all. But, you're thinking about,
let me tell you what I want her to do. I would like her to figure out how to get something out of the deal, because like I said, Democrats talked about border security too. This is not a new conversation. What can we get out of it? Okay, you want to spend $5 billion on this wall? What do Democrats want that costs $5 billion? Make a deal with them. Like, okay, we're gonna all get something out of this where what the American people win.
The one thing that they could get out of it is to get DACA, right? And start to all of that. But here's a problem. The problem is with Trump, you cannot cave. That is the one part that I have, and what I want folks to realize is the people that are suffering the most are the people that voted for Trump.
Absolutely.
And at a time, look, I am not immediately suffering from what has occurred with I notice I said immediately suffering from the shutdown. Eventually, all of us will suffer from the shutdown. Eventually, we all will. The thing that I think that we have to do, however, is to try to make the attempt for Trump to see that he simply cannot win. Because here's the bottom line. We cannot allow Trump to win this one.
You know what? To me, Egberto, it's not about the win. Mm-hmm. It's about what Americans, the people, are losing at this point. Like you got people that probably live paycheck to paycheck that are asking their landlords to I can't pay, or I can't buy groceries. They're doing free meals in certain places. Right. This kind of stuff. So to me, it's not even about the win. It's about who's losing, and who's losing right now is the American people.
Well, I believe in compromise and all of that. I've always believed in compromise. And you see how I talk to right-wingers, left-wingers, Republicans. You see I speak to everybody, and nicely that is. Mm-hmm. However, there's one particular... Trump is a special species.
Absolutely.
As a special species, things that apply to human beings generally don't apply to Donald Trump. Because when they spoke about Donald...
But let me interrupt you, but
sure, go ahead.
About Donald Trump. Like I want us to get beyond the fact that okay, he is president, but let's not make this about him. Let's make this about getting him the hell out of office in 2020. Let's do it what we need to do to take care of our people right here, right now, and do whatever it takes to get him the hell out of that office in 2020.
I can't disagree with that, right? The thing about it is, how do we do that? And the truth is, Tamara, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've thought about this. Should she give a little? Should she make a trade for DACA? Should she? And the thing about it is, all of these positions that I see where he gets a piece of the wall, I see as it turning into him making it into an issue to make people vote for him. Okay, and that is my scare. You're talking about getting him out of there in 2020. I want that. But in the process of getting him out of there in 2020, we have to make it look as if he's not inevitable. And I don't know.
What, and I think people see this for what it's worth. I think people see this. People see it. We're feeling it as a nation. You see, like you just mentioned about race a few minutes ago, how it's not about race. It really is about class. You're right, because it's all smoke and mirrors. People are not stupid. We're not stupid as American people. You have so many people that are sitting on the sidelines. I know as a candidate, I saw the people sit, and I sat on the sidelines in 2018 because I chose to sit on the sidelines. But I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines that hate this, and they see it for what it's worth. And I think the Democratic Party has a responsibility to go and get those people and show them something very different. I believe it's the leadership in our party that I'm like so on the edge of just like saying.
Well, you know what? If you take a look at some of the writings many of us progressive bloggers have been doing, we have been making sure that the words of or a good progressive, Talib, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who they're trying to marginalize.
Absolutely. They trying to
don't get marginalized.
Silence them. They absolutely are. The establishment Democrats are saying, go away, be quiet, sit down, wait your turn.
It's not going to happen. No. She has waited her turn. Let me see if I have anything here. Let's see. City council should be fine. Oh, I think that's a different story. Let's see what. Evidently, I haven't been active. One of our people are complaining that they haven't been active enough. He lost his top fan tag.
Oh.
Well, you'll get it back after a few times. Just make sure and come in. I tell you what. Call into the show, 646-716-5812, 646-716-5812. Okay, Tamara, so before we kind of shut this segment down, we'll have another 5 minutes or so with you. So here's the deal. We're in a shutdown, and that's all we're talking about. But there's a whole lot of other things that are affecting the kids, the whole country right now. And it seems that the only thing we're talking about is shut down Russia, Trump. Okay? Shut down Russia, Trump. We have a problem where working parents can't find good daycare for their kids. We have a problem now where the credit markets are on the verge of freezing. We have a problem right now where student loans are overwhelming our students. We have a problem where the tax rate for the wealthy is going down so much so that our budget has exploded so much so that the only thing that we are going to be able to do is cut social programs or explode the money supply. And if we do that, we fall into, again. So none of this stuff, as we discuss Trump, shut down Russia, none of these things are being spoken about. And I think that is a danger, because what it means is when that crash comes, it'll be that much harder.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like smoke and mirrors, with all the things that are, in the headlines and in the news. People have real problems. And, this is where I feel like the party has to be intentional about engaging people in the political process and getting people like you and I on the forefront that speak to regular everyday people. Like, we're talking to regular everyday people, and we are regular everyday people, and there's work to be done. And I think the party just has to be more intentional about reaching people, getting them to the polls, and fixing our problems.
What I've been noticing is that people are throwing their hands up in the air and just figuring there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. And
they're
one of the things that
live, Egberto. I hear that and I see it. People are just trying to survive in this country. They're just trying to feed their families. They're just trying to make sure they have something for tomorrow. It's a rat race. They're just trying to make it from today to tomorrow. And so to ask them to be involved politically or to have these kind of conversations, it's exhausting. Hell, it's exhausting for me and you.
Yep.
It's exhausting. They're like, I'm already at burning the candle at both ends. Do I have energy to fight the government?
Well, what I'm doing, and this is a part of the plan that I have in my 10-point plan. And one of the things is, and for those that are listening, you'll be getting an email with this pretty soon. But I'm putting some groups together, zooming people in. And what we're going to be doing is getting a whole bunch of folks to meet, just like how we are discussing right now over video. We hope to have dozens of people at the same time in conference rooms. I'm going to get a Zoom network that allows us to do that. There's a product on the market that's easy for everybody to use. and to start having these kinds of discussions, because what I think we have to do is start small. I think we
So
have
let
to
me ask you, Egberto, when you start the conversations, what do you want out of it? Because people don't want to just talk. So tell me, like, when we have these conversations, because I'm all in.
Right. What we're going to do is we're going to discuss topics. In other words, and try to have it sort of a teaching from the first one that I'm going to have is going to be sort of a you tell me. In other words, what are the things that you're going to, I mean, there are a lot of things that bothers you that you feel that you don't have anybody to talk to about on these issues, because like you said before, there are a lot of people who don't understand politics. They don't feel that they can be a part of it. They don't understand that they run things or they can. So the first thing about it is mostly not for me to be out there on the top pushing things. What I want to hear from people, first of all, is I want to listen to people, hear what they have to say, and after I hear what they have to say on the first meeting that we have, then we start formulating, well, these are where people are. These are where people are. Now, if I don't get a whole lot of input, then I'll start saying, well, it'd be good if we do X, Y, and Z. But the idea is at least once or twice a month, I want to have a place where people can go ahead and show that they, in a way, a place that they can go and decompress and say, hey, and by the way, I want us to start talking about X, Y, Z. And then another part of the plan is I'm bringing in folks, and if you notice, I've had more guests in the first 2 weeks in January than I've had all month in December. I've been bringing people in, including CIA agents. I brought in teachers, all kind of folks that I'm bringing in. And the reason why is I want to expose our listeners to just about the entire plethora of what makes up the political sphere, and bring it to them in a fashion that they can touch. I mean, they watch it on MSNBC, CNBC, or all these places. They feel that the elitists out there are governing them. If they're on Politics Done Right, or if they're on Georgia with Georgia Tomorrow. What is the name of the program now?
Tomorrow for Georgia.
Tomorrow for Georgia. If they're on Tomorrow for Georgia or whatever, they know that whoever is on that show with them, they can actually touch closer. I mean, right now I'm in sort of negotiations with Elizabeth Warren's campaign. I should say her folk. Trying to figure out how we can actually get one of these things done. I'm talking to a couple of others that I can't mention right now, and the whole idea is to try to bring these folks closer. The pitch that I'm making to all these folks is, hey, look, all of you guys are talking about being progressive, of being wanting to be close to the people. The way that you get close to the people is to do it this way. In other words, anybody can be on CNBC or ABC. Now, how close do you want to be to your people? So those are some of the things that I'm looking at. It forms a part of the 10-point plan that I have for Politics Done Right in 2019 and beyond. So
and I think that's so important, Egberto, because you're right. So many people feel like, they're I don't know this. I don't know my senator. I don't know I don't know my House rep. I don't know my city council. They're not connected to, and right. that to me, I take that back to the candidate or the elected official. That becomes their responsibility to get to know the people. The people seek them. They should be seeking the people.
Absolutely so. But what's great is, the local politicians that we have, the progressive politicians that we got, Harris County in Texas where we're at, we got a whole lot of people elected. And the great thing about that is they all want to be among the people. I am already lined up our local officials that are going to be in studio with me. Our new county clerk, our new county judge. I mean, they're going to be there. So, I mean, they're here. I want Harris County to be a template of what can occur in every single county around the country, because what we did in Harris County, what all these politicians did, the new ones that got elected, they brought out something that Harris County had never seen before. And if we
want some of that, Egberto. We need that all over the country.
Exactly. And that's why this program, and when people see, even though I'm interviewing, bringing in a whole lot of these local folks, I always tell them before the show starts, it's a national audience. And what we want to do with a national audience is use what we did in Harris County as a stepping stone for what should be done all over the country. Because Harris County was a template, and I can start naming great names like Judge Bill McLeod, who worked so hard, Jessica, who worked so hard, Nisha, and all these local activists that just went out there. Daniel Cohen, I mean, these guys, Pranav, all of them have been on the show. These guys just came out here and they made it happen, you know.
And that's encouraging. It's kind of like I look around here in Georgia and even nationally, and it's like, you know, people are feeling, you know, kind of left out of the fold and not feeling a part of the process. And I think if the Democratic Party, like they say they are, they're the big tent, they want to bring people in, they got a big responsibility and they can't push people out. We actually have an election coming up here in the state of Georgia for our chairperson. And I hope that this new chairperson, whoever this will be, is intentional about bringing everybody into the fold. Because if not, we're gonna continue to lose here in Georgia. We won't ever be where you are in Texas, Egberto.
Well, actually, it's not all of Texas. I'm speaking about Harris County, Dallas County, Tarrant County, Travis County. There are specific counties, the big counties that's really working hard. But the other thing about it is what I tell people, and I've been telling this to our local activists, is we lead. When I say we lead, I mean the activists, the progressives lead. Let the party follow. In other words, the one thing I don't want anybody to do is sit down and wait for the party. And I'll tell you a little story here, and this is an important story. And this is not to embarrass the party or anything like that. Parties, by definition, they act very conservatively. Even our Democratic Party acts too damn conservatively. But there's this judge that just got elected. You know, I spoke at his reentry when he got in, but he went ahead and he offered what he called a ground game, the county ground game, and he presented it to the Democratic Party, our party, and they denied it. So he built it on his own, and he built it on his own. And it was replicated throughout the county. And eventually, the party picked it up. The party picked it up after it was successful. In other words, they act like corporations, right? Corporations, after they develop the drugs in colleges that we pay for with the tax dollars, and they say, oh, that drug might work. Okay, we'll take it and make all the money off of it. That's how the party behaved. But anyhow, his ground game, along with all these different progressive organizations that busted their butt, won it. In other words, what I'm trying to say is, the party was a bit instrumental as well, but the bulk of the work came from the folks who led. And the folks who led weren't folks that were the Democratic Party. The folks who led were progressives in Harris County who went door to door, who went ahead, had activities, who came on all these different shows, Politics Done Right and many others. And that is how it was done. So my thing to you, as you're leading your crew out there in Georgia, is, don't worry about what the party does. You know what you got to do.
Yeah, just do it. That's very encouraging, Egberto, because it's kind of like you want them to say, let's do this together. It's like there's a side of you that you want the party to let's work together. And if they get excited about new ideas and fresh initiatives, you think that they would like grasp on to everything, like let's do this, but you kind of have to kind of go around them and just get it done and then come back and say, okay, what?
There's only one thing we need from the party, and that's the political organization. In other words, we're a duopoly in this country. It's either Republican or Democrat. There's a Green Party and there's all these other parties, but if we want to be honest with ourselves, until progressives really change the picture by having power first, it's going to remain a duopoly. So what we do is we work, and in our case, we work under the umbrella of the Democratic Party, not under the rules of the Democratic Party, but under the umbrella of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And we do what we need to get done to get our people in. When our people are in, we can then move with our next step. And that's what I...
That's the hard part after that. Once we get our people in, look at how the establishment is trying to silence them. That's the part. It's like, damn, I've already had to fight to get in here and work. Now I got to fight you while I'm in here. That's the part that's like, oh, it's hard.
And here's what I love about, I wrote a piece on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez yesterday, and I wrote one on Daily Kos on Sunday that it really exploded. I mean, over 600-700 comments. I mean, it went crazy on Daily Kos. And the idea is this. One of the things I love about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is that she doesn't give a damn. In other words, they try to quiet her. She looks around and she does her thing. She has her 2 million Twitter followers. And when she and you know what? Watch how they're going to be tempered with her, because she has a commanding group. And you know which is the largest group right now and the largest voting bloc right now?
Is it the millennials?
Millennials. Because the boomers are dying.
Yeah.
Okay? So millennials are the largest group. So anybody who decide that they want to marginalize folks like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they do that at their own risk, because the truth of the matter is those are the people, you know, I'll be frank. I work mostly with millennials, okay? In fact, the people that are my leaders in the movement right now are millennials.
I love it.
Okay? I tell them all the time, I'm there to serve. I'm there to serve. They'll call me up, hey, we need to get this blog out. We need to get this out. Okay, no problem. Look, we've served a lot. And what have we done? You know, so we have to let these folks take over now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want them to, because honestly, you know, those of us that are middle-aged, I'm not a millennial, but I'm not like the other side either. But those of us that are middle-aged, you know, it's like, we don't have the same kind of energy and fire that they have. I have a lot of ideas and I can kind of navigate, but I like the fact that they can get out and run circles around me. I appreciate it.
Yes. And that's what they're doing. You know, right now our crew is out there yesterday they were out there at NASA doing their kick for this thing. One of them called, Egberto, you coming out here today? Man, no.
We can't even keep up, Egberto.
I know. It's like, look, send me some pictures, send me some videos. I'll process them for you. I'll do all of that kind of stuff. But I can't go out there and be shouting again and then coming back out here and doing my thing, you know? It's funny talking about the devils and one's calling right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that they can run circles around me and they're out there and they're energized. Whatever they need, like you say, I'm your servant. I'm at your beck and call. What do you need? How do I help you? What
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it's for. So look, let me ask you one other thing before we go, and that is, you'll be back in 2 weeks, or
sir.
Week after next. Mm-hmm. Okay, Tamara is here every other Wednesday to have this little chat of what's going on in the country, what's going on around the state of Georgia, but not only Georgia, but the entire. So that's how you say it. You say Georgia.
That's how we say Georgia.
Georgia, okay, whatever. But you know, so anyhow, she comes every other week. She's officially a part of the Politics Done Right family. As she adds a few more things, she'll be here more than every other week in the long run as we get all these things hammered out appropriately. And so she'll be back again. Tell me, do you have anything special in store for the week after next? Because today was sort of winging it.
No, we didn't wing it, Egberto. I thought we were right on topic, right on time. And you know what? We're talking about what's happening currently. So we were where we need to be. And I love being in the moment. You know, we don't have to prepare sometimes. We don't have to be so, like you say, I'm stiff. I think you're stiffer than me. So we'll be talking about what's current, what's happening. Prayerfully, when I come back, Egberto, we will not be in a government shutdown, because I might. You think I'm mad now? I'm gonna be on fire if in 2 weeks we're still in a damn shutdown.
This woman that was supposed to be senator of the 40th in Georgia 40th. She should have been senator in Georgia 40. She came this close. We don't want her mad at all. Give me a closer before we let you go.
Well, thank you, Egberto, for having me on. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Tamara Shealy. I do a broadcast every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk all things Georgia and Georgia politics. So, Egberto, I appreciate this time on the broadcast and look forward to being back in 2 weeks.
You didn't advertise your YouTube channel. Come on, girl.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, I am on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now YouTube, everybody. So you can find a whole collection of videos on YouTube and stay abreast.
She just started her YouTube channel. So go ahead and get her numbers up on YouTube so that she can get all those other perks that come with the YouTube channels when they get activated. Because look, folks, bottom line is this, right? The network that we are putting together is going to be a network of all kind of folk from all over the darn country. Network that you can touch, people that you can work with, people that are out there in the field. And what we want to establish here, more than anything else, is that symbiotic relationship between the average citizen and their politics. And we want to be that interface between their politics, because that is what we do. So, check out Tamara. Tamara is doing a whole lot of stuff herself in Georgia. Very important stuff. And in fact, there are some things that we're not going to say right now. But anyhow, thank you so kindly for having been here, Tamara. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. You too, Egberto. See you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, folks, that was Tamara Sheely, and we are back. You know what? Look, the teachers' strike is driving me crazy, and that is what the show is supposed to be today. And I one of the reasons that we extended the time with Tamara, kind of, I don't want to say shooting the bull because she'll get mad at me for saying that, but it's talking about some other issues, is because, again, like I said, I was burning from the too much from the midnight oil, and the blog of the week that I want, everything that I come to you when I come with a blog to read, I accept what Tamara says about wanting to be in the moment, and we always want to do that when we do these shows. But when I come to you with certain issues like a blog of the week, it is my duty to you. It is my duty to you to come completely informed with all the right links and data and all of that sort of stuff. And on that today, I was not able to complete that task. But I do know the education issue quite well. But so what I am going to be doing today is expressing, first of all, let me tell you, the title of the show was supposed to be Look in the Mirror. We are guilty of America's school crisis. Teachers are the victims of ever-greedy corporations. Subtitle was, Until we realize that we are responsible for the American school crisis, nothing will change. We have allowed billionaires and corporations to use our most precious resources as commodities, raw material. Look, the second largest school district is on strike. Okay? It's on strike. At first, it seemed that teacher strikes were red state issues because they are so poor in collecting taxes to pay for the education of their citizens. It turns out the teacher problem is countrywide. If Los Angeles won't do right by their students through the teachers, there is no hope in the short term, right? But we are never about being hopeless. We are always about creating the necessary change to make lives better for all. This means ensuring we are informed about the problems and then make sure we know that there are solutions if we are willing to go around the plutocratic crap we are indoctrinated with all of the times. And look, I knew there was a problem. And I'm telling you when I knew there was a problem. And this is quite interesting. I saw an interview on what channel was it? I think it was either MSNBC or CNN. And they asked the teacher, or they asked a parent about the school system. And this parent was all for the teachers, and they wanted to support the teachers. They thought the charter school system was really sucking the money out of the school system. All of that was true. But then the reporter said, are you willing to pay a bit more taxes so that this will go away? And by the way, by paying a little bit more taxes for schools, it's not a whole lot more taxes, okay? It's just a little bit. Right here in Texas as well, if we just paid a little bit more, everybody paid a little bit more, we could have some great schools if we had these taxations progressively done. Right now, it's just index of property taxes, right? Here and even in California, 59% of the, and this I looked up already, so I'm telling you good data, 59% of the money comes from the state, but 30-something% of the money comes from property taxes. When it comes from property taxes, what does it mean? What it really means then is areas that have good, expensive properties, they can have good schools, and poor areas, they're just, it's crazy. That is not an egalitarian society. That is not a fair society. That means that your schooling is dependent on the kind of taxes we can pick up. And guess what? I don't know, back in the early days, and I had just come to the country during Jarvis' time in California, when they passed these laws that reduced, they really hit property, they really did a number on property taxes to cut property taxes. And of course, what is that going to hurt? That is going to hurt education, right? Because of how it is paid for. It is crazy. It is crazy that you are dependent on the value of properties for what kind of education people can get. A large percentage of that is. It is crazy for you to do that. The truth of the matter are things like healthcare and education should come out of the general fund, and it should be we pay whatever taxes are needed to have it fully functional, both the public educational system, the healthcare system, and all these basic systems we should have funded publicly, not privately. But here's a caveat, right? Corporations, and this is something that I speak about all of the times. Corporations, everything that they see that needs to get done, if they need to pay a bill, if they need to bake a piece of bread, if they need to provide health care, if they need to build a road, they want to capitalize everything and make it a private. They want to have somebody do it privately so the owner of that privately held entity can make a profit off of. So henceforth, we, the taxpayer, invest in universities, they create a drug, and as soon as the drug is created, it gets passed on to a corporation who is privately held, and that corporation makes and gouges us for the price of the drugs. So we have the school system. The school system, we underfund the school system on purpose to make sure that that school system fails. And then somebody comes out from the private industry and say, hey, but we can do it better. And how do they? And we can do it better and we can do it cheaper. Math still means something. Arithmetic still means something. But what do? So they go ahead and they say, okay, we hire a bunch of teachers, but these teachers are not going to fall under the same regulations as a teacher in a public school. These teachers cannot be unionized. We pay them less. Of course, it's cheaper. And then we get to select the kids who come to these charter schools. So then what happens is the same bastardization that you have in healthcare, right? All the sick people go to the public sector because nobody's going to spend the extra effort to protect the sick or to teach the indigent or to teach that person that has a hard time learning. And then they look good. Oh my God, look at this particular charter school X. It's doing fantastic because what it picked the cream of the crop and gave them everything using your tax dollars to hurt, in the case of LA, 80% of the students. Folks, we need a fundamental change. A fundamental change in education. Here in Houston, Texas, Houston Independent School District, have a few failing schools. The law has said if you have X amount of schools failing, or if X amount of people of a particular ethnic backgrounds are failing, we take over your schools. So we have the people in Harris County, in Houston, the Houston Independent School District, trying to save these schools. Okay? And somebody comes out and said, writes an op-ed that says we need to save these schools. The school shouldn't be taken over from the state. Our governor comes out and he argues against it. Oh no, the Houston Independent School District is lousy and it needs to be taken over. What difference is it going to be made if it's taken over by some private entity when the underlying problems are still there? A whole lot of poor people in the district. A whole lot of schools that don't teach because they don't have the money to hire competent teachers who can teach these kids that need a bit more. What makes anybody believe that they can solve the problem? Some private company can solve the problem better than public teachers who want to solve the problem but don't have the resources to do so. Folks, we've been sold all kinds of crap from our plutocracy under the tenet that private systems can work better. They do not. You cannot. Math will always matter. I don't mind private companies. I have one. I wrote software for decades, sold my software. I got my profit. I paid my taxes. I did all of that. I love that. Free enterprise is great. But there are certain things that belong in the commons. There are certain things that should remain public. That is the only way we can have a true egalitarian society where every single person has access, free access to success. That is the only way every single American citizen has equal access to success. Not equal outcomes, because it depends on whether you want to work or not, right? There are some people who don't want to work as hard. So they won't have as much as somebody who does want to work very hard. But we have to have limits. You don't get to make $1 billion. Nobody is worth $1 billion. There is no billionaire on this planet that is worth the billion or that earned that billion. Not one. There's not one executive in office that deserves to make 500 times the average employee in that company. Absolutely not. Nobody is worth that. If we were really determining worth, engineers would be the people that's worth the most, because engineers are the ones that everybody else depends on. They're the quiet ones that just designs and create out of what scientists create. They put it into usable products that doctors use, lawyers use. Everybody else uses the ingenuity of engineers in every single profession. And yet, they're not the ones that are billionaires. Only the ones that capitalize on that and leave the engineering field to go into the capital field become the billionaires. So folks, my dear brothers and my dear sisters, it's imperative that we have a realignment of our economy into what really works. I gave a little speech on democratic socialism on yesterday on KPFT. Not completely in detail as I'm going to want to give it at some other times. But our economy as it stands today is a fraud. It penalizes people who really do work, and it ingratiates itself. It enriches those who are least deserving. Jeff Bezos does not deserve to be the richest man in the world. And it's not envy. I don't envy people with money. I am not somebody that believes, oh, money is so great. Give me a computer, an internet, and a blog, and I'm happy. Okay? I'm happy. Easy. Very easy. Some people need to have money to feel worthy. I had a lot of money before I decided to go and do this. I don't have it anymore. But you know what? I am happy by making a better world, or by helping make a better world. And I mean that. Anyway, folks, like I said, to keep these progressive programs on air, what I do need, however, is your support, my brothers and my sisters all over the country. So please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Again, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. We need your support to keep this going. We need your support badly. I shouldn't say badly, goodly. We need your support. So please go ahead and become a subscriber. There's a lot happening. There's a lot that we have to go. I have a 10-point plan. Check it out. Just go to egbertowillies.com, look for 10-point plan. And look, we are going to, together, we're going to form a little family here that we're going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing. That's going to make a difference. Please go to patreon.com, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. And let's get busy. Let's get things going. Let's do things. Because we're going to take this country back over. And we're going to do it right. And it's not, look, and it's going to be tough, okay? The plutocracy is going to come at you. I mean, they're going to try everything that they can to fool people. They're going to try everything that they can to lie to people, to say, oh, you old communist. I'm no darn communist. I'm a free enterprise person. You can work and create a business. Create your business. Do something. Create. But those darn people that are trading stocks, they don't create a damn thing. And I mean that. They do not create anything, but we have been indoctrinated into believing that these guys are worthy of something. When Jeff Bezos created one click on Amazon.com, he patented one click. And Egberto Willies, when I was developing software, couldn't create a cart system based on one click that I wanted to make into a product because he had patented. Folks, let me tell you something, my brothers and my sisters. It is you that are powerful. It is your job that counts. It is your excess labor that makes these other people rich. And the same thing that's happening with schools. They're trying to turn your kids into commodities. They're turning your kids into the raw material to enrich somebody else. So when you hear about HISD, they try to make it look like, oh, the teachers are the ones that are to blame. The teachers are lousy. There are lousy teachers, my friends. There are lousy teachers. But most of the darn teachers I know are darn good teachers. One of them called me the other day. I was sitting down in a Starbucks, and this is a guy, and I'm going to go a little bit over because we started about 3 or so minutes late, so I'm going to go a little bit over. But a guy called me in Starbucks, and he's a teacher, and he's leaving. He's about 57 years old, and he was retiring, and he said, Egberto, let me tell you something. You are so altruistic. The truth of the matter is I'm just leaving the field because I think it's all over. It's all over. It's not going to change. And I'm like, yes, it has to change. And the thing about it, brothers, I'm going to tell you something. Yes, I understand that you fought the battle, and for me to ask you to go ahead and say, hey, stay and be a change, it would be wrong for me to ask you to change because you've gone through that fight. But let me tell you something, brother. I'm going to tell you something. If you're not going to be fighting on the inside, you have to fight on the outside because it's in you that these kids, we can't allow. The idea here is this, and I have a woman that's coming on tomorrow. Oh, somebody wants to get on. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I'm going to extend the show today because of the late start. But come on in. Who do I have online? Let's see. 217. Come on in.
I think there has been a long time-tested problem with education in the Western world, and it's the rote system of learning, the ROTE system of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it puts people in a really weird situation where they're expected to sit down for a long period of time and be told things, expected to remember things, and then repeat the answers to the questions that they were told. And I think that actually destroys any kind of creativity and intelligence that any of these kids have. And I think that's been proven a long time. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And what are your thoughts on that?
You're absolutely right about that, sir. And, we've been talking about all these standardized tests that people are giving kids where they're studying towards the test and they're not studying to learn. I remember when my daughter was in high school, I would tell her, she would come home with papers and all she would have to read are these papers to do the test. And there's a whole book that gives you the framing of all these things that occur. And I would tell her, read the book because you want to understand the framing of how things come about, whether it's history, geography, math, or whatever. So, sir, you're absolutely right. We have to stop just teaching folks to do tests and teach folks how to be creative, how to think on their own, because you can't be an engineer just studying to a test. You can't be a scientist just studying to a test. You have to be able to build structures in your head, mind structures, so that you can actually go from point A to point B. Try to solve a complicated algebraic or calculus problem, and you see what I mean. It's something that comes from learning.
Well, there are three distinctions that I think it's really important for anyone talking about the education system. I think it's important to understand these three different cases.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that is smart can accurately memorize things,
Right.
And someone that is intelligent can be faced with a problem and figure it out,
Right,
without any coaxing or any outside interference.
Right.
And someone that is knowledgeable is someone that can memorize things and can figure things out on their own. And I think that the education system that we've been pushing on these kids, and it's so tragic, is that we have been pushing on them that here is the question, here is the answer. I asked the question, you give the answer I gave, now you're an A+ student. That's not how you create intelligent people. It's just how you keep cogs in the machine, You just keep people rolling along so that they know enough how to push the buttons to make the machine work, but they don't know how to build the machine.
Sir?
And, yeah, I just think that's terrible.
You are so right. Are you a teacher?
No, sir, I am not. I was about to start conversations with several people where...
Go ahead. I think we're losing you, sir. But anyhow, I got to cut you off now because the program is coming to an end. But if you can still hear me, let me just tell you that thank you for those words, because in as much as I am ranting about the actual teacher issues right now, you're correct in the analysis of what you just came up with. And he's absolutely right. We have to start teaching and doing it right. But I'm going to have somebody on tomorrow talking about the educational system, and she's going to point a whole lot of that out. Of what the young man had to say, and that is that we have what we are trying to turn American education into is just educating people enough to serve the corporate need. In other words, these are not folks to be turned into businesses or whatever. We are just educating them enough for corporate need. Folks, I got to close the show down now. Please support the show by going to patreon.com/politics done right. Again, that is patreon.com/politics done right. Unless you have voices out there, our voices, your voices out there, that are there to kind of get around the indoctrination that comes out from our plutocracy, from our corporatocracy, from our oligarchy, from our corrupt politicians, we are not going to make it much further than where we are, and that is to remain indentured servants. So please support us at patreon.com, patreon.com/politics done right. And you can also, if you just want to give a one thing, if you don't want to subscribe, just want to be a donor, go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com. It has been my pleasure, like no other, as always. I'm honored that you're listening, that you're watching, that you're a part of this show. Please continue, but most importantly, please share. Please ensure that other folks get to see the message. That is what we're here for. Thank you so kindly for being here. Patreon.com/politics done right. This is Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, and you guys know how I end this show every single time. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.